definitely helped me. I just keep thinking that there has to be like one service. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Instead of three different ones.
Mhm.
And I haven't been able to find it for certain things, and it's mostly marketing. But like there's certain things that I feel like I pay for this and this, and they kind of do the same thing, but for two different things.
Yeah.
And I would love to find something that is just one place that I have to go that will do it for
Mhm.
everything.
Yeah. Yep. And are you talking about like social versus email versus like what, like, because one of the gaps I see, there's, and I'm asking to go a little bit more specific, is
All social media, interestingly enough. And the problem has been that I cannot find one service,
Mhm.
one good service that will help me post for LinkedIn and then everything else. Like LinkedIn is almost like its own beast, you know. And you can find all these wonderful, like I use Planoly, I use Plan That, I've used all these other services that are great for Instagram, they're great for Facebook, but then when you try to find something for LinkedIn, it's like crickets.
And even Hootsuite doesn't do LinkedIn.
It does, but then it doesn't do everything else that great, and it's kind of ancient.
Yeah.
I
So
have
yeah.
it for that reason, but it would be nice if I didn't have to go to Hootsuite and then also go to Planoly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Would it be easier, instead of having that app, to have an assistant that did the LinkedIn for you?
It would.
Like, because I think like when we're thinking about the automate, delegate, delete concept, so often we're like, it's like there's no commitment with a program or an app, right? And I was coaching a client the other day, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like you're getting to a place where like we need to find you a personal assistant. Like you shouldn't be doing these like silly things anymore. And literally, I wrote down right after, like, get her an assistant, I wrote, get myself an assistant. And I realized, like, I was like, hold on, like, if we keep coming back to what you're worth from an hourly perspective and how that aligns to your sales goals, and now that we see the sales goals and go, oh, hold on, like we're not actually on track for that, or that's more than I like, it doesn't correlate right now. We really have to get into the mindset of like, how can we be training someone to do 90% of the work that we're doing so we can focus on what either we love doing or the sales and the relationships and really providing the value that we're committed to.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, I would be really curious if like, if you had an assistant that was part-time, if they could do LinkedIn, what else could they do?
Right. Right. I've needed an assistant for a very long time. I know I need to just bite the bullet and get one. I just
Do it. Yeah.
I want to add to that. So I've been dealing with interns lately. There's three of them, and I'm kind of at this middle point where we've had enough time together for me to understand like where they fit. And I'm taking my accountability partner has been taking time to say, okay, I understand that you have a lot to do and that you're really busy and you can't handle your budget, but what are you doing with your time and how much of that is actually your interns' responsibilities? So I got to do even my interns did a deep dive research in the very beginning on like what tools we want to use. And I was really glad to bring up some of them in this group because people shot it down like, do not, don't expect this to be what the hype is for or what they're selling it to be, because it doesn't, or the interface once you get in there is kind of bizarre. So we were able to kind of stray off. But yes, even with 3 interns, I still have social media things I need to do. We still have more than one app that we're using. Planoly is specifically for Instagram, and it's still giving us trouble because it doesn't want to automatically post if you're on a creative page versus a business page, and swapping between creative and business, it doesn't seem to be recognizing it. So we're still having those issues with having one central place to gather. Our intentions were to gather to be able to set up posts in advance and to be able to gather insights and analytics in one place to be able to look at them. But my data analytics kid, who is the one I'm struggling with the most, he's 18 and he's a boy. It's not like the girls; they're great. They take in their job and make it what it is. But my point is, the data analytics side is all over the place. All these different logins still. And I'm sure it's overwhelming in its own way. But the posting is now like, okay, you guys, you handle this straight from the app, and you can schedule like in advance from the app itself, like just plan them out and schedule it within Twitter or whatever. And then you handle this from Planoly, and so it's not in one central place. And I haven't even tackled into LinkedIn. Like I haven't even gone into LinkedIn. And then of course we have Pinterest, which we're now dealing with as a viable platform for searchability and for purchasability. So I haven't solved that myself, and my interns are also managing all those individual pieces, because alone, it's more than one person's job. That's all I'm saying.
It is, you start to see why people outsource. That's one of the first things people outsource, because if someone's responsible for it, they have to figure all that stuff out, right? What's the best platform? What analytics do you need? Which ones don't you need? The gap that I see is that so many people who have outsourced social media, they still haven't done their marketing strategy yet, right? So marketing and selling are the same thing. So if we're investing in Instagram, why? What do we want to get out of Instagram? Like what percentage is brand awareness? What percentage is actually converting to sales? And how are we using Instagram to convert back to the big picture? So when we analyze all the things that we're spending money on, we should be able to correlate, I'm spending this, it's equaling this, right? So if I have a website, I can justify that my website costs for hosting or the domain name directly translates to both my brand awareness, my the fact that I really exist, like it gives me proof that I'm a real business, and it can also be a place where I'm generating sales, either people booking a new call or feeling more confident in like what they're going to get if they, join Powerful Ladies, or if they, go to the Cara Duffy brand. So you want to be able to see like, how is this working? And the costs usually for hosting a domain or a website and a domain name are so low that if we divide it by 365 days, it makes sense as an investment, because it's going to generate way more than 10 times what you spend on it in revenue. So we keep coming back to looking at all these things we're spending money on. Are they generating 10 times their cost in sales? And that's what we want to be thinking about. And if they're not, we really need to sit down and figure out why. Is it because they're part of a long-term strategy, or is it because there's something broken in the process that we have them in? It doesn't mean that the service is broken, but are we not using it the right way, or are we not closing the loop?
So I wanted to ask you a question based off of that. Shopify, no, there's another thing that starts with an S. When you are buying things, you typically use your
Right?
something. Square, not Square, sorry. Not Stripe, PayPal. It's like, it's not shop, the word is pay. So PayPal account has reached out to me from a business perspective and always flagged this thing, said, give people money to buy. So it's like a $5 campaign where if you buy from my shop, I'll give you $5 in PayPal money. And the way that it shows up in PayPal, because I've just tested it for the first time, recently I've just been turning buttons on, like just to not be afraid. As part of the, my strategy right now is to gather data on how what this does for my business. But I turned on the, sure, let's do a campaign, give people $5. And the way it shows up is they make a purchase in my site, and it shows up in my site as the purchase of having paid out. But in PayPal, it shows up as their purchase and then my purchase of $5 for them. So it'll be negative $5 from my account times however many people. Maybe it's 13 people, maybe it's 19 people. They sent it to like 190 people altogether. So I get to quantify the ad spend and the value, and it'll say something in regards to how much they spent in my shop versus how much I spent on the campaign. So it ends up being like a return on ad spend is what it quantifies it as. So right now it's at a steady like 350% return on ad spend. So if I spend $65 for however many people divided by 5 that is, and I've made about 20 something dollars on average per purchase, then it'll divide that into what the replies are. The problem is my ad spend data is this. So I don't know what that means to me. I'm like, is it, and I'm more looking at the individual and saying, when was the last time they made a purchase, which it shows that data. I'm like, oh, the last time they purchased from my shop was in July. It's probably, this is good. They made a purchase. I spent $5, but technically it just means that I gave them a coupon that said, get 4 stickers, $1 each. That's fine. I'm perfectly fine with that. But it's been doing this budgeting thing and this course this month has been taking my mindset out of like a fear of spending money and more into a, like where does this money bringing, whether it's monetary value or it's got some sort of intrinsic value. Same thing with my time. And in this case, I'm trying to take a deeper dive visual into the actual customer as well, because I'm starting email campaigns this month and I'm starting these random like PayPal purchasing campaigns. Like, I don't know what to do with all this stuff, but I'm hoping by spending some money on $5 per customer on a range of 190 as it fiddles down to like 5 to 10% of people who actually use it, I'm hoping that has a higher revenue than it would have if I wouldn't have done it. Like I get more money than I would have.
That's what you want, right? And so I think
Yeah,
that's how I want everyone thinking about what they're spending. Like, because there's some costs where you have to spend it no matter whether anyone buys something or not, right? If you invest in product or you build a program, you're taking the leap that you're going to invest this money, and based on that, you can make, all sorts of money off of it, right? That's where your line plan comes into play. But after you've bought the essentials to function and you've bought your inventory or created your product or service, what do you do with the other money, right? And all the other money is going to be in sales and marketing. Again, they're one thing. We can't divide marketing and sales. The reason that you spend money on social media is to drive sales. The reason that you buy business cards is to drive sales, right? All of the things we're doing, it should, in our heads, we have to flip it from this is what we do as a business to I'm doing this because it's going to generate sales. And so it doesn't mean that sales are going to happen tomorrow with each of these paths. Like in a healthy sales and marketing spending plan, you want to think about it like long-term investments. You want to balance money that return you'll get quickly and return that will build and be sustainable over time. So that's why if you're doing retirements, like they're like buy in oil because it's so consistent. At the same time, I'm like, yeah, but I want Apple because I see Apple moving, right? Like I want things that are going to go fast. So we have to balance it. I've talked to Natasha quite a bit, right? Being in the world of PR, can PR be translated into a direct return of investment? Can it translate directly to sales? Typically PR, depending on what kind it is for service or product, it might be something that's planting seeds for a longer time, right? Because that's just what it is. So in Natasha's educating of her customers, she has to talk about that. So people, when they're measuring the ROI, it's not like, hey, we worked together for a month, I didn't make any more money. And you're like, whoa, 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 like, whoa. So we have to know in our marketing and spending, our sales plan, how long are we expecting to see a return? This is also why I am against most ad spend on social media, because unless you have a fully robust, clarified marketing plan that has every piece of the customer journey optimized, I don't know if it's ever worth the return. It's really hard. Yes, Gail.
Sorry, can you repeat that? I'd love to hear that statement again.
Yes, essentially, I have very low faith in
one last right now. Yeah, sorry.
No, I'm like, so I have very low faith in social media ads based on my own experience and my clients' experience. For the people who it seems to produce amazing results for, it is part of a much more robust, fully thought out customer journey that every piece of that puzzle has been optimized. Because just like a product or a service, you need the before, during, and after mapped out. And if a before, during, or after is not mapped out, so you know exactly what these customers or potential customers are doing, you're going to spend money and not move them anywhere, right? Because, for example, for the course, we did some ad spend and it generated great new emails, but it didn't convert to any one of those emails buying the course. So what should I do with that information? Like, was it worth getting those emails, and how long would it take to convert those emails into someone who bought something from this world? And, you know, right now we don't know, like, how interested in it are they, and how effective, you know, what do you need for that to really work? So yes, most people who that seems to be working for, they also have a very large email list in the first place. So
Hey, Kara, I wanted to add to that. So I'm like when I worked in gaming, so they categorize like your level of spending. I know, Gail, you know this. So like, you know, you have like your whales are considered your top spenders. So I was considered a whale spender. Like so like a whale spender is like, there's a certain threshold of dollar, but you're also an impulse shopper. So that's the person that sees an ad or sees a deal and like buys it. So it's funny because ever since then, I've realized that's like my shopping pattern. So for Gail, just to like, cause you understand that world too, like with ads on Instagram and hardly Facebook, but for Instagram, for me, I like ads that like directly speak to me. So if it's like perfectly targeted, it's like someone putting a lipstick color on that I'm like, oh my God, I have to have that. Like, that's when like I'll trigger buy. Or if it's like things I've been talking about, obviously we know the AI. So like, that's like, if it's not like, if it's just like you showing a bunch of pins, but you're not targeting it to like people that are like pin collectors with anime art, like, you know, like that kind of style, I do agree with Kara, like it's almost like a wasted spend. So it's just like, I kind of go back to like being the live ops manager and like going back to like that whole sales technique. It's like that really, really targeted like ad spend for people that like are going to be your top tier. Mm-hmm. And then I just read a story, I put it in the chat, but for the next, I'm sorry, my allergies are really bad, by the way, guys, sorry. So for the next 3 months, if you're going to do ad spend, you want to make sure it's going to give you at least a 3 times return on your ROI. Yeah. So that was like something I don't know, I closed out of the article, but they were saying like, yeah, like spend money if you have it, but make sure your ROI. So if it's like a sticker for $5, or if you spent $5, like they're going to at least do a $15 minimum purchase. And then a sales technique I saw 3 days ago that like, for any of you guys have e-commerce, this was so genius. It said free shipping with $25, but the cheapest SKU was $23. Yep. And I was like, damn. So I was like, do I buy another thing, or do I pay the $5.95 in shipping?
There's this chocolate place that I've been wanting to buy this chocolate from, only because the chocolate looks so good. It is a Facebook ad that I saw first, and I keep seeing over an Instagram ad, but they say you can get free shipping, but when you go in there, you have to do a minimum of 25, which is a minimum of 3 chocolates, which are $10 each. So I have to spend $30 on chocolate to get free shipping, and I'm not going to buy it without the free shipping. So I'm one of those potential customers that's just like hovering over the button times however many times. I don't know what they're gonna do to send me over the edge. Maybe make it 2 chocolates.
I'm just gonna keep showing you the picture, and one day you're gonna be like, okay, fine.
Stop! Don't tell me that.
The 10. Let me guess. Start counting how many times you see it, and see how long it takes for you to buy.
I've already bought pretzels. I bought pretzels off of Instagram. They were stinking delicious. I think I saw the ad 4 or 5 times. And I bought pretzels. Free shipping, that's all they had to offer me. And I was like, down, give it in pretzels.
Nobody should be giving free shipping or free returns, because it's the most expensive part of a product business. So you have to make people work for it. You know, I just did a pitch deck to investors for a new company that is launching. And we looked at the potential breakdown, and the product cost was, the retail price for the product was $20. The shipping cost per product was going to be $7. Do you know how much of your margin that eats away? And they're like, well, when can we offer free shipping? I'm like, when they buy $50 worth. And they thought I was crazy. And I'm like, no, like you have to at least get your shipping costs to be converted to like to buy 2. So it's like half cost, but really we want your shipping to be really low, or just don't offer it for free. And so many businesses now are not offering free shipping, or they are, but not free returns. So the whole idea, I'm very curious how it's evolving. I think free shipping may soon only exist at Target, Walmart, and Amazon, because I don't know how businesses will keep surviving if they keep offering free everything. Yeah.
And was I going to say, Etsy did a terrible, terrible campaign that's been just eaten. We hate it as e-commerce, small businesses, stuff like that, because they're basically like, we will only promote you if you offer free shipping.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's forcing us to drive up our prices of our product on that platform only. So if we have more than one platform, we almost can't use it, which I wasn't using Etsy in the first place anymore at the point. But it's confusing smaller businesses who are just starting, who are their target audience, smaller businesses who are trying to get, where they're setting up their pricing scheme according to how much the value of the product is, and then offering free shipping, because without it, Etsy will not promote them.
Yep. Yeah, I had to convert one of my clients a couple months ago because of that. We just raised prices everywhere.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only response, is to raise prices everywhere.
Yep. Okay, so coming back to this month's topic, when we're looking at what are the metrics that we need to be following. So who knows what's a metric that you should be looking at every week to make sure that you're on track? And the logic behind this is that if your sales goal for the month is $40,000, it's overwhelming to every day be like 40,000, 40,000. So how do we break that down into units sold, or dollars per day or week, or how many customers you need? What's a metric that you guys are tracking? Courtney. Yeah.
Total sales, like I don't know, like I'm like that's typically the thing that I'm looking at.
Mhm.
I'm usually all excited when I get orders like on a frequent basis, because I'm all like, ooh. And I'm too busy with my day job to like calculate it. So when I do calculate, I'm like, ooh, that's a good, like so far this month I'm doing better than I did in August, which is great. September was shit. But
Fall is granola season.
pumpkin pie season, and people are paying more for pumpkin, so that's good.
I really hope one day you can just ship a box here and I will distribute it from my house to the rest of the Powerful Ladies community.
Well, one day, whenever I go back to the States, I'll just take some bags and bake some batches from my mom's kitchen and then ship them from Philly.
I love it. Okay, perfect. So daily sales goal is a great thing to look at. What's another daily metric to look at? Or weekly? Daily or weekly depends on your business. I said them earlier. Units or customers?
I was just going to say, I don't know if this is the same as sales, but I look at units. Like I just look at who's emailing. Like I know there's people that are still thinking. I'm ordering some fabric specifically because one of our colors is weird. And so I'm trying to get a better shade or tone of this particular nylon. So I'm trying to look at it like interest and actual unit. So, which it's slowed down a lot. So, but also because I haven't been doing anything. So it's partly my own fault.
Yeah. Like in my world for coaching, I'm tracking how many clients do I need a month? How many, like renew or new? And I look at them both separately. So that's what I'm looking at. Because if I achieve that number, then the sales will come with it, right? Yes, Gail.
I'm realizing from this conversation that the tiers that I've separated things into are going to have different daily measurable type things. So for example, if I'm doing my middleman work, which requires me to have clients that are purchasing enamel pens through my manufacturers, that one is going to be more of on an individual per customer and an individual per how many pins that they order on that basis, because that's how my pricing is split to be able to reach my goals. But then the sales goals for the shop are going to be on a weekly sales basis.
Yep.
So by the end of the week, how much money have I made? Because on a daily basis, it's like nothing. And then it's like thousands of dollars. Like, let's talk about that. But I'm trying to break down the trends right now. This week has been me gathering one on a monthly budget to understand what my needs are to pay myself, so that when I say how much my payout is, it's based off of my personal budget. And then working backwards and saying, okay, I have 2 separate business expenses split right now that I'm working into the thing that you've given us. And it's to track the things I've done so far, not to say what I want to do in the future yet. Your document is going to be like, where am I going to be? Yeah, so hopefully if I make how much money and I integrate how much money I'm paying out to myself, I can see on a high level how much everything costs, like in general, like how much shipping costs and how much it costs to pay myself to be able to pay my bills. And I don't know that yet. I think this is a 2-week process for me because I can't work on it every day. And there's like 3 documents. There's 3 documents. It's split into 3 documents by filling out the necessary documents, I think.
Well, and this is why you start to see how platforms like Shopify that do all this data analysis for you, if you run a business and you have Shopify, my head would be like, how do I put all of my products into Shopify somehow, even if they don't seem like they fit, but how can I process them all there? Because then I will get all the metrics way easier. Same with like if you aren't using QuickBooks or FreshBooks or another accounting software, it does a lot of the data reporting for you. I spent so much of my time in corporate life making dashboards manually because we never had a program that would pull the numbers we actually wanted. So find one that does it for you, because if you are looking at your numbers and on the key metrics for your business consistently, and you can see them and know what they are and they make sense to you, you're able to make faster strategic decisions. My client that had the best month ever in 5 years in June or July, the reason that was able to happen during COVID and all the insanity of 2020 is because every time we got on the phone together, we always looked at metrics. We always looked at where things were trending. And, we were making decisions really fast to see like, will this work? Will this work with this one or this one? And so if you can be a little bit obsessed about the key numbers that matter to you, it makes all the difference. Especially as creative entrepreneurs, it's really easy to get pulled into the like, I'm just gonna hide over here and make stuff space. Anyone ever crawl into that hole? It's a great hole. Like, it's really fun. And we have to make sure we're balancing it with like putting on our CEO, CFO hat. Otherwise, we've made all this stuff and we haven't made any money. So it's like, deciding if we have to do all the roles, when do we block out that time to do those things? And then there's a whole other level of like, how do we make sales fun, which we can talk about another time as well. Yes, exactly, Allie. Yes. So again, I want you guys to have really clear things. You can start looking at your numbers right now. Whether you are service or product based, because of Amazon Prime being pushed to yesterday and the day before, is completely shifting what people are expecting from a normal Q4. Which means if you sell products, you should start any holiday promotions November 1st, which is insane. I think Target is doing 3 different Black Fridays. There are 3 Fridays in November that will be treated like Black Friday just from Target. So how are we, keeping up with it? What strategies can you do? Now, again, I want you to think about that. And before you take any actions, ask yourself, how can I do it and work less? We have to keep bringing that back in, because the answer to success is not more. That's the answer to burnout, right? So just more is burnout, but strategic equals success. Okay, so has anyone not calculated your sales goal so that you have a number that you're targeting per month? Does everyone have that? And is anyone lost and they're like, what are you talking about?
Kara, I have a goal, but I think all of this, to me, it's like over my head, because yes, I have some clients, but I don't have consistent income and I don't really have any overhead I'm spending on. I mean, the website, yes, but and the Gmail, but other than that, I'm not really making money or spending money consistently. So I feel like, is this all premature for me, or do I set up this budget so that I'm creating systems and healthy habits and stuff? But when you guys are talking, I'm trying to process all of this and remember it for when I get there, if
So
that makes sense.
makes total sense. So if you're in a place where you're spending almost nothing on your business, I would just keep track of what you're spending. So don't think about making a future budget yet. Just track what you are spending on your business. What I want you to focus on instead are your sales goals. So whatever you want to earn for the year or have your business generate for the year, just be chasing that number. And if you see that you are consistently not hitting that number, then that's a moment to say, I think I need to invest in sales or marketing support. And then
Yeah, I feel like that's where I'm at, because I have the goal, but I'm like, okay, now I have to do the marketing and sales to get there.
yeah. And if you're, and sometimes marketing and sales is an action, it's not a spend, right? There's so many things that we can take action wise in sales and marketing that don't cost us anything other than our time. So, like if we go from, this is our sales goal, the next thing that I do is like, let's break it down and see how many clients or units do I need to move to achieve that sales goal. And then when you look at that number, you can say, okay, well, how do I get that many people to be a yes? And that's where the sales and marketing strategy starts. Because if you need 100 people to say yes to whatever you're selling, based on if you're in a product or service, if you're more direct sales versus selling to strangers, you're going to have to do more of a sales and marketing push to get more eyeballs, right? Because of conversion. No matter what business you're in, there's always a conversion between who you talk to and who gives you money. So if you're in selling things online, it ends up being like a 1 to 5% at the end of the day. So you have to do the math back up and be like, okay, if I want to sell 100 pieces, how many eyeballs do I need? How do I get that many eyeballs? And again, you can get all those eyeballs for free. It's just a matter of how you do it. So when you're looking at your sales strategy, the two key questions are, how do I make this money as fast as possible? And the second is, how do I get myself in front of as many people as fast as possible to hit that number 2? Is this making sense? Okay.
Yes, I'm writing it all down. It makes perfect sense.
So again, so if it's, I'm just going to do the math because I don't do math in my head anymore. It's dangerous. Okay, so if you need to sell 10 and you're getting a 1% conversion rate, how many people do you need eyeballs on?
10 times that many?
Yes. Right, so it's like, so if you need 10 sales, you need 1,000 eyeballs, right? And if it's 10 sales and it's a 5% conversion, you think it's 200. If you have a bigger network, or you are more out there telling everyone you know about your business, or you're calling people directly, I think you can go to a 25% conversion. For my coaching business, I play the 25% conversion game. So if I'm making 4 phone calls, one of them should equal a sale, either community or course or coaching, right? And so if you need 10 people and you think you have a 25% conversion rate, you need to call 40.
Is there like a universal ish conversion rate, or like by industry?
Are you talking like for courses in particular?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, because my courses are so niche, I feel like I would probably need some data, but in my head I'm like, can I just start with like the industry of courses and online classes, and then from there just kind of, because like right now I feel like the data that I have right now is kind of tainted.
Yeah.
Only because I don't feel like, because I have been working a lot of the time, it's been sort of inconsistent. So I don't really feel like I have data that says after you have been consistently promoting and consistently doing this and consistently doing this, this is the outcome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I've been sort of like making generalizations, and people have just been hearing about me because I've been out and about and talking and doing stuff. But I don't know that I have anything to go by that's based on a real strategy.
So I just Google double checked at a couple of places, and online courses have a very similar to online product sales, which is 5%. 5% is like what you can kind of count on for conversion. Less than 1% is in the bad zone, but higher than 5 is in the really great zone. So for example, I had a client who did invest in Instagram ads only during the holiday season, and she got 10x return on them, right? Because like really like exactly what Natasha said, very specific, very strategic, only spent this much, but based on them was able to get this much. So you want to be thinking about, like, business all comes down to math, which can be really upsetting if we like to make pretty things. And it can be really empowering because there's no emotions behind the numbers, right? It's just what's so. So if you think about the 5%, again, if you aren't looking to sell hundreds of seats per class or per thing, I would really lean heavily into email marketing and direct selling, like using the network you have and building that network. The more and more research I do about who is getting consistent sales and who is growing at the pace that you like, the step pace you want to see things growing, it's people who are driving everyone to make two choices, like buy this or get this for free for your email. Like you're literally giving people two options. And a lot of people who are winning in digital product space, they're not promoting them on their website. They're not even promoting most of them on their social media. They're all through email marketing. Because you get more hot leads based on people like opting into a freebie that directly correlates to the product that you're selling. And this is some of the deep dive work we've been doing, even for like Powerful Ladies stuff, right? Like, how do we get, it's great that we have people following us on Instagram and like what they're seeing, but if they're not customers that really want to dive into their business, like it, I don't care that they're following us. I mean, it's cool, thanks. But like, we're looking for the people who like really want to make things happen.
Yeah. Well, I have to say that YouTube has been very helpful.
YouTube and Pinterest are the two social media platforms that click directly back to your website. They're the only two where there's no algorithm between you and somebody interested in you. So there's all this conversation right now about, is YouTube falling off? But it's only because of TikTok and Reels. So the video part's still working, but like, where should the video go? But until I see massive amounts of research and comments and articles on this, YouTube and Pinterest, send people wherever you want them to go.
I agree. I mean, even when IGTV first came out, it was this whole big thing about, okay, should I now put my videos on IGTV? But I kind of feel like, well, not even kind of, I don't think, like, I put things on there if I have something longer to say on Instagram, but I haven't seen any research that says that it actually, you can search it. And that's the whole thing with YouTube. Like, even when my website wasn't being picked up as quickly, my videos were, because of YouTube.
Yep. Especially where you're in an education-based business, where where do people go to find answers? Google, Pinterest, YouTube. That's where people go. They're like, I want a solution. Okay. Like, yeah. I mean, I literally use those 3 tools all day for everything in my life. A business question, a recipe, I don't know how to change a bike tire. This is embarrassing. Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm. Okay, so when we're looking at, doesn't matter what we're selling, right? So I know we've got Felicia in here, which I'm so excited to see you, and I love your luxury living room.
Yeah, I wish.
And so I also want to speak to, when we're looking at our sales, there's lots of ways to achieve our sales goal. It does not need to be one income stream, right? So how do we look at the different income streams or products that we have and figure out how this all rolls into our bigger number? So, picked on Felicia because I know she's doing a podcast, right? And so when you're in a podcast space, how do you monetize your podcast? Some people use the podcast as the freebie that they give to people to drive them somewhere else. And people who are elevating their podcast are making money on their podcast in multiple ways. So yes, it's a freebie that's driving people to your brand and your business and everything else. And then how do you get sponsors? How do you get, there's the Patreon option. There's all these different ways to monetize a podcast. And it works the same way, right? Suddenly we think that somehow, sometimes we correlate sponsors with donations. And yes, you can have partners for your business, but we need to think about them as your customer. So some businesses have more than one customer. So if you have the people listening as customer number one, you're selling customer number one to sponsor number two, right? Your second customer is your sponsor or your business partner. So we have to be strategic about how many sponsors or business partners do we need, and do they care about our customer, and why should they care? So suddenly you're not pitching yourself and your business, but you're pitching the audience that you have, which I'm sure you know from the work you've done. But we can do the same math with sales strategies about, okay, cool, if I want to hit the sales goal for the podcast, how many sponsors do we need? And across how long should the terms be? 1 month, one episode, or do we want to sell them in bulk, which I recommend. Selling a quarterly or bigger subscription or sponsorship would be great because it's less work for you, right? So it keeps coming back to, how do I hit my sales goal as fast as possible? And how do I talk to as many people as fast as possible? So number two, like, how do I speak to as many people as possible, is why people do PR, why they do free Zooms, free webinars, free events, why they speak at conferences, why they go to conventions, because you're suddenly in a bulk-based audience. And another really effective way to look at things is who shares your audience. And they can be a direct competitor, or they can be a completely different brand, but who shares and who wants to be dual exposed, right? With the different trading that people can do. And that's how you create some good partnerships. So again, just pointing this out for no matter what you're selling, your services, ads, opportunities, a product, the same logic of how do we break this down and put together a game plan to really see, like, when you guys are doing your sales strategy, I want you to actually know the actions you should take to achieve every unit of that goal. So if you need to get 1,000 eyeballs, how are we going to get 1,000 eyeballs? Are you laughing at my eyeballs? Comment? Oh.
No, Courtney's dog.
Yeah.
There.
Bear coming onto the couch.
That was huge.
Yeah. And Courtney, you should absolutely do YouTube. Yes, yes, yes.
And
Kara, I
the
just
dog
wanted
in.
to say,
Please tell me what you want to know about, and I'll do it. That's where I'm stuck.
Kara, I wanted to say thank you so much. So I haven't been speaking up because I actually, I call her my business partner. We're totally running it like a business. We're doing Two Chicks and a Horror Flick, and the reason we're so obsessed with this and excited about it, and we're growing it, and people are responding. We have a YouTube channel. Like, I have all the expenses. I did that whole sheet, but we just don't have like sales, right? I feel like it's all about how many people know we're there. Mm-hmm. And like, we want to get merchandise. We want to travel to haunted locations. We have so many freaking ideas. We're so excited, but it's like, I don't want to buy a bunch of shirts and then like, you know, we don't have that many followers. My partner, Tawny, created an amazing Patreon with these different tiers that are so much fun, like we're really giving back, and it's going really good. But again, we just started talking though, because I was really thinking about what I learned from you in the launch camp, and so we're talking about a podcast course because we have so much knowledge around that, and maybe we can put that out there. But yeah, sometimes we're just like, okay, how many followers do we have? What else can I do to get more people to know who we are?
Well, I'm so glad that you spoke up about that, because one, that idea sounds awesome. I want to know more. I think you just hooked everyone on here with just like the name of it. So please post about it in the community so we can find you and follow you and all those things. And everyone who hasn't done that about your business, please do it, right? Being part of this group is networking and getting to lady brag whenever you want to about what you're doing. So, when you are in test phase, right? It's like the phase before launch of your business. Because to me, launch means we have a proven enough model where we can now start charging people in whatever our sales strategy is. So sponsors or buyers or members or whatever that is. If you're in test phase, you're 100% right that you should not be buying merch. You should not be spending money on creating additional income streams. You want to be building up your base. So instead of thinking about how do I get 10,000 eyeballs to sell 100 things, how do I get 10,000 eyeballs to get 100 followers, right? So if you have subscribers or whatever that number is that you need, because if you're, is this a YouTube or a podcast channel?
It's both.
Okay, perfect.
We edit for both. So.
Okay, perfect. So what you're doing is you need to build your audience so that you can start doing all the, turn on all of your revenue streams, right? So you're just in total PR, promo, tell everyone mode. And it's just a matter of how fast can we do that. But what's really important in test phase, just like you should have a cap on how much you spend to invest into the business in test phase, you should also have a marker for, okay, cool. At this number, we're going to switch to pivoting to getting sales. So like, for example, I know in the podcasting world that 3,000 average subscribers downloads per month is a point at which you can start having conversations. It doesn't mean you can't have them sooner. 10,000 is when you go to the next level, right? So there's a step tier of how many subscribers or followers that you can start generating money from, but you don't have to wait that long, right? So you have such a unique niche. It's also Halloween, right? So who wants to be part of this? And my head's like going crazy with all the community maps we could build, because you spoke about so many things. You already talked about horror movies. You talked about haunted sites. There's 1,000,001 ghost shows, right? There's all these things. So who wants to be driving traffic to them at the same time? Who's willing to invest now at a lower cost and be with you longer term?
Okay.
Who wants your audience?
All right, that's right. Yeah, because for Halloween, like we plan out the whole quarter in advance, and Halloween we're doubling up, and like we really and I just a week ago was laid off from my job, but honestly, it's
That tells me good things are happening.
yeah, so I'm just like working extra hard. That's what I do all day, is like work on that.
No, I just got like, my body's hot. Like I'm literally like a couple degrees hotter now because of my brain going right now for all these ideas for you. But like sometimes the people we think should be partner, like are the best sponsors, are really random when we first start thinking about our business. Like there's like a whole niche world of people that care about haunted, scary things. But you know who also cares about haunted, scary things? Every candy company on the planet. Right? Because that's where it's like that or Valentine's Day. Where else are they getting their money? So there's so many random things. People who are doing haunted hay rides, like it's endless. And so
that's a great idea.
There's this whole world of it.
I'm so glad I said something, because I was literally sitting here thinking, okay, everybody is so far ahead of me and I really don't have anything to contribute. So thank you very much.
Thank you for speaking up. Yeah, like I also, based on what's happening over in the chat over here, like, don't be surprised if you get more DMs from everyone in the group being like, what about this and this and this?
I would love that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, so we are at 1 o'clock. Things that I want you guys to come to next Thursday with. I want you guys to know what your sales goal is for the next year, even if you are still in test or like, you know, the baby phases of your project. Have that number broken down into monthly and weekly and daily if you need it, and have it broken down based on how many customers that equals, or an average order value. So you know how many orders you need a day. Those numbers are much easier to track. Similarly, I want you to think about, based on how many customers or orders you need, or followers or subscribers, what is your eyeball ratio? Are you playing the I'm going to go after a 25% conversion because I'm going to call everyone myself and really take a B2B or the super direct to consumer path? Or am I going to rely more on creating funnels and going a digital business strategy, which might be in the 5 to 1% range? And then the last part is, I want you to keep coming back to, how do I do it in bulk? How do I get sales in bulk? How do I get marketing people eyeballs in bulk? It's just easier, right? Like that's the fastest way to go, like, okay, right? Like once you hit the bulk number, we can breathe. So whether it's, you know, how do you add 500 followers tomorrow? What do you have to do? Could be an email blast you send out. It could be, you know, having someone that has more followers than you that loves what you're up to, doing a YouTube takeover. Might be happening today on Powerful Ladies, not sure. So like, how do you think about like playing the game, and who wants to play it with you? Who are parallel businesses or partners or even competitors that are down to share followers because they know that it's complementary for everybody. It's exposure. Okay. Yes, Allie.
Just real quick, I was just doing some numbers, and if everyone I talked to was like, hey, can I get 50? Like if I talked to someone that was like, I need 50 orders, like this gym, I would only need to do 36 orders.
Yeah.
And that's my low end of that's the low end of like, because I don't need, anyway, yeah, the low end of my sales target. So
yes,
36 orders.
Yes,
so that's like 1.5 a week, maybe. So.
Right. And what if you just called 36 people on one day?
Yeah. I mean, I need someone to help me sew at that point, but that's 1,825 bags. So
that's a problem we can solve.
I know. I can handle that one.
Yeah. No, like, and when we think about scale, like breaking it down, just like you did, Allie, is exactly where I want you guys to get to, because even for $1 million projected revenue sales plan that we was just working on the pitch deck for, when we broke it down and looked at how many units and who would buy that many units, it was like needing to make 5 phone calls that landed to get $1 million in sales for a year. So how many of these 5 phone calls for $1 million aren't you making because you're not thinking about, how do I do this as fast as possible?
I want to say that happened a little bit for me as well, because if I set my goal at, I mean, this is just a goal at $100,000 in sales, I could reasonably release a specific product called an Eat-A-Bag and have 2 Eat-A-Bags, or let's just say if I divide that in half and say I make half as much, 4 Eat-A-Bags, 1 per quarter, and make $100,000 just in the bags, just in crowdfunding. I could do that based off of the projected scope and financial income of Eat-A-Bags if I continue to design them. Mind you, that doesn't count my shop, that doesn't count all my other income streams. And I'm going, because I already have 2 Eat-A-Bags spec'd out and designed. I just have to go through the process of everything. So this process of talking to you guys has helped me understand that my goals for next year could be reasonably accomplished within the first quarter.
Yes, that's what I want.
Like if I did this, and if I didn't, it would be a bigger effort. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm afraid of spending all this money. I'm afraid of putting all this time and the anxiety over crowdfunding that everybody gets, that I'm going to have conversations about in a knowledge sharing course that I'm going to start myself. But my whole point is all these things I'm trying to balance. And then I say, I have this idea that's a money-making idea that is one of the, on the value ladder is at the highest that I have so far. And I'm just sitting on it.
Yeah. Yes.
If I set goals, I could just reach those goals instead of worrying about all these individual pieces. I can say that will get me closer to my goal.
Did you guys listen to Jen Burson's episode of the Power Plays podcast from Generation PR? Go back and listen to it. She's a total boss. Natasha connected us. But she has this thing, every time she gets a sale, she rings a bell. And it's great because now she's texting her husband like a whole bunch of bells all day long. And he's like, okay, I got it. You're killing it.
Who is this person?
Her name's Jen Burson of Generation PR. She's like just the past few weeks, like I think she's 3 or 4 episodes ago, but she's awesome. And but like when you just said that, like I was like doing my claps, so I'm like, I need a bell. I need something louder than like my silent clap, because these are great ideas. Like I want you guys to have not just bell for sales, but bells for like, oh my gosh, this is the one thing. This is the one thing that's changing it. When you find the partner that is going to get you to that bulk order, and like Mikkel, I'm thinking about where I went to fashion design school. It was you had to go to like a FITM or something else. They didn't offer any Adobe courses. So I'm going to message you them, go call them and be like, hey, send all your people to me, because why not? Like everyone needs the skills you have. They're not even being taught there and they know they need them.
What is this that doesn't have it?
It's where I went to fashion design and merchandising school after grad school for 1.5 semesters and then dropped out because I got a job. Yeah. So, but really, like they know that they're really an associate's program. They don't offer those things. They do all the other old school stuff, sewing, draping, sketching, and everyone's hungry for CAD design stuff and they don't have it, or technical CAD work and they don't have it. So I hear that as a bulk order opportunity for Mikkel. And I know there's more of those.
I'm on it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Anyone else get a couple degrees hotter today since we've been on the call? Yes. All right. You guys are incredible. Thank you for making my Thursday, and I will see you all on Monday.
Thanks, Karen.
Also, before I go, price is going up for this community in November. So tell your people if they want to lock in this price forever, for life, they need to join by the end of this month. I'm sure there's some scary Halloween like ad we can do about that, but tell your people, because I want to get everybody in at that price, annual or monthly. If they lock it in now, they will be grandfathered in after the new prices come out.
There's a referral button in the app, right?
There is. And if you go into topics and scroll through, there's a whole section on how to be an ambassador and refer, and it even shows you how to find your link. Yeah, get your points. Okay.
Well, when is it going up? November 1st?
Yep.
Okay.
And it's a big jump. It's not like a baby jump. It's a big jump. So I'm going to do my due diligence also, letting everyone know, like, get in now. So, okay. Awesome, guys. Thank you.